Hey everybody, happy Thursday. How's everybody doing? Boy, have I got some fun and exciting news for you. I'm super excited about some stuff. I really am. I'm totally pumped. I'm a tad bit tired, but I'm feeling good. DR Broden, how are you, my friend? Hey, Johnny Bravo. Hey, Al. Good to see you in here. Well, thanks, Johnny Bravo. I appreciate that. I only have, let's see, it's noon. I got to be done here by 12:45. And Cap, Rhonda, Bokomo, there you are, my friend. Thank you for being in here. Hey, Ricardo. Antonio, good to see you. Clinton, thanks for being in here, my friend. Lenny, I'm free. Boy, I got a great story for you guys. It's really good. It's really good. First off, though, second arrest in 2 weeks. 15 days. 2 arrests in 15 days. We're making history here, you guys. This is history. This never happened to me. I have been arrested 4 times in 13 months. All for butthurt, contempt of cop charges, interference, unlawful conduct on public property. Oh, you hurt my feelings out in Aurora. Cold boy Sloan. I got a little stone for my important parts. Everything has been dropped, dismissed, except these last 2 arrests. So this is going to get really interesting. So, first of all, in all seriousness, Brian O'Neill of the Denver Police Department, badge number 99 something. This guy is the ultimate in what I have encountered in my activism, at least out on the streets, advocating for the homeless. This is by far the dirtiest mofo to exist, I believe, on planet Earth. In this capacity. This guy, whatever he is, whatever he's comprised of up here, is all the classic signs of a sociopath. In all seriousness, he's a dangerous fucker. He is a very dirty fucker, and he has been around for a long time. And he essentially has nothing to lose. These older cops that have been getting away with this kind of stuff for a lot of years, they have nothing to lose. So it makes them even more dangerous. Because this guy's got almost 25 years. And he's going to retire. And he's got full-on union protection. The union thoroughly loves to protect these cops that perpetuate reasons to hate police. And then, then they do their song and dance about how mistreated they are and how targeted they are and blah, 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 blah. Well, this is how they get their reputation. And this is how people hate cops forever. This is how people like me still try to give them the benefit of the doubt to do the right thing. Still try to put good ones on display. They're far and few between. So, on a serious note with O'Neill, I want to continue to talk more about him because he's dangerous and he's dirty. And mods, I apologize, but I didn't send you this link. And it's important that we go find this. I started a different stream on my laptop, realized that I didn't have the right software because I was using StreamYards on my laptop, but I don't have anybody do StreamYards with me today. And so I had to cancel that live stream, but we need to go get this link off of YouTube. It's from a channel called The Blue and You, all spelled out. And the title of this video is Medal of Valor, Sergeant Brian O'Neill. I want to put this link in here because it's really, really important. When you, as a long-time activist with dealing with dirty cops, start to understand their patterns of behavior, body language, their actions, the shit that comes out of their mouth or doesn't, you start to be able to know what you're dealing with. And I'm pretty damn good at reading cops. I will very much pat myself on the back for that. So I've only known O'Neill for a short time here in District 3. And that's because he hasn't always been over here. O'Neill is from District 6. And in this video that I'm talking about, that the mods will post, hopefully here, you're going to see this little interview. I think this channel has like 1,500 subs. I don't know, somebody probably started this channel with the intent of, you know, slurping the boots, because all it's about is the Denver Police Department and all their heroes. And Brian O'Neill is one of those heroes on there. And you can go watch it for yourself, but Brian O'Neill is doing this interview talking about shooting a suspect in the face. He was a hero, of course, for doing it because he stopped a random act of violence downtown. Thank you, Bokomo. So when you go watch that link, save it for later, come back, whatever, I want you to pay very close attention to how he describes the aftermath of that shooting. Thank you, Jayhawk. Very much appreciated. Hey, he's laughing. He's laughing about this person surviving being shot in the face. You're going to want to watch it. Also, if you have not seen my community post on Brian O'Neill, there's a link in there to what was an internal affairs investigation turned into a discipline process by the city and county of Denver on Brian O'Neill. This guy has a very blaring history of, we'll just call it disobedience. He fails to follow command staff rules, policies, and procedures while he remains a sergeant. It's a very interesting read, that as well, that link. Thank you, Jayhawk, for popping in. Really appreciate it. And if you want to go read that, you're going to learn some more about Brian O'Neill. And the fact that the city let him get away with what he got away with back in 2013 in this internal affairs investigation, he was recording his superiors. Get this. He was secretly recording. Because he was supposed to be tasked with investigating a prisoner abuse case. So it's very important that you have all these pieces on this one particular cop, because this explains everything that's happening to me, the homeless, and the other advocate out here. This guy has a mindset of a killer cop. That's why in that description, which didn't end up really hitting the algorithms very hard in YouTube because of, I suspect, the KKK inference. Cops keep killing. Killer cops keep killing. So that's a little bit of this guy's history. So back to only knowing him on the streets here for the past few months. My first interaction with him was him and Anastasia Moore in District 3 trying to steal Stephanie's camper. Another elderly person out there. Then we came across some body cam footage of Sergeant O'Neill behaving very badly. Then we had an interaction with Sergeant O'Neill on 4/20. If you'll all recall, that was the day that District 3 was stealing 3 campers. And one of those people that they stole a camper from is Lindsay, single woman out here, which, by the way, for those of you following that story, Lindsay's not doing well. It is a very volatile situation. And had Denver not stolen her home, she would have still had safe shelter, somewhere to be off of the street, and not likely to be injured, raped, assaulted in any other way if she had somewhere to be. But Denver stole her home. You saw it on video. And you saw Sergeant O'Neill out there on the scene offering me mental health help. You also saw him threaten to arrest me if the crime scene tape fell down. You also saw him in an unmarked car with expired license plates. This guy does whatever the fuck he wants. And the Denver Police Department is allowing it. And unfortunately, District 3 has completely gone down the drain under their new command staff. Commander Aragon has taken over there and just fucking thoroughly desecrated the place. They have turned it into a District 6 on steroids. And it's ugly, ugly, ugly. Because District 3 used to be a very decent district when Commander Kyle was at the helm. Commander Kyle has since been promoted to upper administration. He's now the chief of administration. So I find it interesting that even though in Commander Kyle's position as chief of administration, that he's allowing this administration at District 3 to literally just destroy all of his work. When we needed some common sense approaches, when we needed some things to look at, you could write to Commander Kyle, he would respond. Nobody was getting arrested, no harm, no foul, except District 3 had their own rogue cops kind of doing their own thing. But now it's total gang mentality at District 3. And it's unfortunate because us advocates, we'd built some decent relationships in District 3. But those they've been destroyed. So you'll also see a video on my channel of a very defensive Sergeant O'Neill getting caught red-handed, taking somebody on a ride-along who was never approved by DPD district policy, DPD police policy, that requires a commander's signature as well as a chief of administration or administration chief, 2 command staff signatures on a ride-along to get approval to have that guy with him who he took around into camps, harassed the shit out of the homeless, deliberately went out of their way to go harass the other advocate. Okay. Hey, Aurora, I'm out. We're just talking about Dirty Boy Sergeant O'Neill, and then I'm going to get to some of the details of what went down at this arrest last night. So there's some history there And it's short, compact, and fast with this very, very dirty, very unpredictable cop. Okay? So you've got that dynamic at work. The day that those campers got confiscated, stolen by the city, they also cited the other advocate out there for some level of interference. I don't know what their story is. I have no idea what they're trying to drum up on her. She doesn't know either. It's ONEILL. ONEILL ordered, I'm assuming, little Officer Moore, little emotional Anastasia Moore out there who's got, emotions to deal with because she's torn, because she has to follow her sergeant's orders. Somebody ordered her, I believe. She's not quite bright enough to do that on her own, to go cite the other advocate out there for interference after they let her help for almost 2 hours. Help Lindsay unload her camper while the fire department went and got a quick warrant to take Lindsay's home. And then turn around and cited the advocate. Yeah. So, there's that dynamic. So yesterday, I decided that I wanted to go to the public meeting. Now, if we want to back up and talk about the arrest 2 weeks ago, I went in to record my interactions with police officers that are protected by law in Colorado. So, yeah, we have a right to record the police on duty and our interactions with them. They would like to believe that they can hide in a building, in a public lobby behind some bulletproof glass, and think that they're not subject to recording. So it's an interesting thing. And they've already tried this charge on me over in District 4. It's been dismissed by the district attorney, citing in the interest of justice. Okay? So, there's a lot behind all that supports our right to record. So, I needed to record my interactions 2 weeks ago over in District 3. And the little cop, the little short fucker behind the window, who said his name was Ingram, but it wasn't. But regardless. Well, he ran and told ONEILL. So ONEILL organized his goon crew behind the scene, and then they came out all big, bad, and tough and arrested me. And you'll see that on video. Whatever stream that was. But wait, let's do booking photos real quick, please. You guys got to keep me on time, too. So, here's the booking photo from 2 weeks ago. That's pretty good, huh? That's not bad. Remember, I have a collection of booking photos. So, let's vote for the best hair between these two booking photos. No, I didn't get a handbook. Johnny Bravo. But here was last night's booking photo. It's not so great. I've had better. My hair was up. District 3 hung up on you, Rain Nation? Get out of town. But here's the story behind this booking photo. I went into the jail last night with a blood pressure of 130 over 180. So, but I was smiling. Thank you. It's a must. You guys, when you go to jail, you must smile. You must smile. So last night, I wanted to go to the public meeting called the Commanders Advisory Board meeting, open to the general public. It is a public meeting. And in this public meeting, I learned that, number one, Mounted Patrol was there. I wasn't able to get there in time to see Mounted Patrol. I love to see the little horsies And I love to understand all the money being spent on taking all the little horsies and their cowboys all over the damn city on parades to go befriend the children and their parents. You see, DPD, they suck at pretty much everything they do. So what they do is they go out, and you'll see it all over their Facebook page all the time. They set up events for children galore. So whenever there's children, there's parents, right? And the parents begin this love relationship with the cops that are being so nice and sweet with their little Johnny. And they're teaching their little Johnny as they get down on one knee, "You can trust us. We're your friend." That's what the DPD does. And so all these educated adult parents, they really love that. So it starts to foster a loving and caring relationship between the DPD and the community. So anyway, I wanted to go see Mounted Patrol. I was across town doing some other stuff and couldn't get there in time for that. But by the time I finally got there, there was a very important PowerPoint presentation going on. And I walk into the room and I see people using their cell phones, like, to record. I'm like, what? Is this a public meeting? Oh, of course it is. No, never trust the police. Thank you, Cat Scratch. Never trust the police. So I walk into this public meeting, and lo and behold, I got to go to the back of the room because there's nowhere to sit. I typically like to sit up front. I don't have a problem with that. But this meeting room, let me tell you, was packed. Packed with probably the average age person there was probably 62 years old. That's District 3 for you. District 3 has a lot of very high-end residential. District 3 has a very tiny portion of the unfavorables of society, if you will. The lower income faction is the smallest in District 3. So all the bootlickers that show up in District 3 are all the elderly folks that just love the boys in blue. Oh, good for you. Good for you, folks. As long as you can keep the neighborhood clean of the riffraff and you can build a, "Hey, buddy, how are you today?" relationship with somebody like Sergeant O'Neill, life is grand. Life is grand because you're a damn fool and you're not paying attention to anything that's going on except what's going on right there in your little comfort square. So, no big deal. But that's what District 3 collects over there. It's the elderly population. The high-end high-end residential. Probably some of the most valuable properties in Denver. So I start to walk to the back of the room, and I notice a whole gaggle of cops in the back of the room. And I thought, oh, well, this is interesting. And then I saw O'Neill, and he was like the first one to start to get up out of his chair. Yeah, interesting, huh? And you can't see much of the stream. We are going to title that stream "The Fastest Arrest in History." And somebody commented about that in there. Bridget, thank you very much for never conforming. Thank you very, very much. That's not the majority. The majority of the American population, mad every day. So, I know age is not the defining factor, but the majority of the 55 and older crowd love to lick boots. So, 1 minute and 25 seconds is the time it took. King Charles, yeah, thank you. So I walk up to Sergeant O'Neill. Hey, I can record in a public meeting, can't I? He doesn't respond. I was cordial with the other cops. He said good evening. And he doesn't respond. And I said, I can record in here. It's a public meeting. And he says, just a minute. I'm turning on my body cam. Oh, okay, good for you. So I turned to walk away from him to go stand in the back of the room. And he says, don't go anywhere. Stay here. I kind of started to turn around because I was waiting for him to come up behind me. I said, I'm going to the public meeting. He frickin' dove in with his arm, ripped my arm down with my phone, and had both of my arms whipped behind my back. That fast. That fast. I was completely limber. No resistance, no nothing. This is when you got to think quick. I've been in a lot of situations like this. This motherfucker wants to kill me. And it's very clear. If he could kill me and get away with it, he would do it. But in the meantime, he's going to work extra hard to injure me. Right? Doesn't tell me why he's arresting me. Lenny, I don't know the answer to that. I have no idea. But let me get into it a little further. So you didn't hear me say a word. You didn't hear me raise my voice. You didn't hear me disrupt a public meeting. None of that. Next thing you know, he's literally jerking me and dragging me down into the hallway from the back of the room. Turns out the other advocate was at that meeting. And she was even sitting in the back row herself. She didn't even know what had gone down. It happened that fast and that quietly. All she heard were the cuffs being tightened. And she turned around. And she said, by the time I turned around, you weren't even there. And all the cops were shuffling all over the room. Some were going out the front door. Some were going down the back. And I didn't know what happened. So, Amy, of course, was the first call to my husband to tell him, I think Reagan just got arrested, but I'm not real sure. Yeah. So then the other calls started to filter into Bo. And we go down this hallway back to these holding cells again. And what I'm really excited to tell you about is that ONEILL informed me that he was arresting me because I had a warrant. Okay? So let that sink in for just a second. Now, how could ONEILL possibly know I had a warrant? How could ONEILL be the first one up out of his chair, activating his body cam, and not answering my question about recording at the public meeting? How come none of the other cops were doing any of that? Well, it's because ONEILL was the only one that knew I had a warrant. No, this gets good. You got to listen very carefully. Now, how can you get warrants in Denver? Clinton, it gets even better than that. It was not a pocket warrant. From all initial indications, Sergeant ONEILL signed his own warrant affidavit last Friday at 3:15 in the afternoon on June 5th. And he got a judge to sign it, to accept it and sign it between 3:20 and 3:23. And with this warrant was a $100 PR bond attached to it. Okay? But I don't know any of this as I'm being drug off down the hall, right? I'm going to skip a few details in here because they're really too good to share at this point. I got to keep you coming back for more. But if ONEILL were a smart individual, and he's not, the man is very, very stupid. I mean, he is stupid. Had he been smart, he would have left it at that. He would have left it that I just had a warrant. But no. He doubled down and told me that he was confiscating my phone for evidence. Because I was illegally recording in a building where a public meeting was occurring. Okay? So, I'm really excited to report to you guys that one of my phones is being investigated. And I'm really super excited for the warrant on my phone. I'm thrilled. ONEILL, dude, you're rocking it. Keep it up. Keep it up. Please. It gets even better. So we still don't know what the warrant's for. None of the cops know what's going on. They're all starting to kind of go, what the hell? Everybody's like trying to shift places. Some of these cops are supposed to be off their shift. You can hear them going, right? But in the meantime, I know that ONEILL on the short bus is trying to delegate all of these cops to not be around the holding cell. Okay? Because here's what he does next. He starts going through my property. Yeah, me too, Michael. Thank you very much. He starts going through my property, which again is my wallet, my other cell phone in my wallet, all of my jewelry, my shoes, all this stuff now again. So they've changed policy, I guess, over here in District 3. Now you can't put anybody in a holding cell with shoes or jewelry on, okay? But so let me back up. So one of the female cops that I know comes up on the scene, okay? So it's fine. It's fine. And so I'm of course cooperating with her. I've dealt with her before. She's actually pretty good. And then there was another female cop who flat out told me, Reagan, nobody's ever accused us of being smart. I swear. You guys, when this body cam footage, it's gonna be golden. It's gonna be golden. But this gets even better. So you gotta listen for this one. So he's going through my property. Okay? And he's fucking fuming. He's fuming because, of course, I wasn't in the public meeting anymore. So I had a few choice words for Brian ONEILL. Because look, if I'm going to go down, let's make it as public and as loud as we can. But in the meantime, my blood pressure's building. I'd just gone to the doctor yesterday. We got a new series of issues that we've got to get under control before I can consider surgery again. So one of these being my blood pressure. Not the end of the world, but yes, it's a concern. So my ears start ringing. So I know, thank you, Blue Unicorn. So I know my blood pressure's elevating pretty hard, right? Victor, let's hope they don't destroy it all, right? The body cam footage, whoever activated their camera, there were a bunch of them in and out, blah, blah, blah. Who knows? Who knows what we're going to get? It's probably all going to be gone. but we can maybe request the footage from the cell. Someone is doxing. Who's doxing? If they're doxing, get them out. Get them out. Thank you. Anal leakage. Yeah, she was honest. She was another cop that I've dealt with who did a good job. She's from District 3. But they're all tainted now because they take orders from ONEILL. He was the only sergeant in charge at the moment. But come to find out, the commander was there. But he failed to show his face. So, okay, so listen. He starts going through my property. How much time do we have? Okay, I've only got about 10 minutes. So he starts going through my property. I said, what are you looking for, ONEILL? Your driver's license. Yeah, it's right there. You got it. Because you open my wallet, boom, it's there. He took it out. Oh, no, that wasn't enough for him. He starts unzipping my money pockets. Uh-huh. And he takes out $16 cash. Thanks, mods, for being on that. He takes out $16 cash. And somebody's holding the cell door, and I can't remember who it was, but there was another cop when all this was going down. And he takes the $16 and slams it down on the metal sink in the holding cell. I said, what the fuck are you doing with my money? He's like, you have $16. Why don't you go ahead and keep that? I said, why don't you just put it back in my fucking property? He's like, no, this is yours. Keep it. I said, better yet, shove it up your ass for your tip, fucker. And he winked at me. This is why I want you guys to pay attention to that link of that video. Mods, can you put it in there again? Watch this fucking sociopath. Watch him. He was winking at me 2 weeks ago too. But here's what's even more concerning. He laughs. He laughs at the most egregious forms of violence. I have said to him multiple times, why don't you go home and beat your wife again, fucker? And he laughs. I can tell him things like, because it's America and I have free speech rights. I can tell him things like, I hope you die on the way home. And he's stoic. I can tell him things like, I hope your kids hate you all the way to your grave because that's what you deserve. And he's stoic. But any act of actual violence, and he laughs. He laughs and winks. He was winking at me 2 weeks ago in a position to not get caught on camera because the two cops that were handcuffing me to the cement bench, denying me access to toilet and water for almost 2 hours, was per his orders as he stood in the hall with his arms crossed down at his waist, winking at me. The guy is a fucking sociopath. So back to the money. So the money continues to sit on the metal sink. I knew he was up to something. I wasn't quite putting it all together yet, but I knew it had something to do with what was going to go down by being transported and taken into the jail, because property was already done. So what's going through my mind at that time is, okay, let's see who's going to transport me. And then we'll talk about this money again, right? I was ready to just fucking leave it there. But it gets better. So the money continues to sit there. My blood pressure continues to raise. I'd already told one of the female cops that I had some pretty serious medical issues going on, which, by the way, leave me the fuck alone. Don't steal my freedom. And my medical issues are all my problem. and mine to take care of and mine to cure. The minute you steal my freedom, now they're your problem. That's how that works. So, my blood pressure to the point where I'm starting to feel like I'm really going to barf big time. I got a lot of kidney pain going on. My ears are ringing. And the female officer had asked me, do you want an ambulance? And my response to her was, I'm not saying I want to go by ambulance. And that's all I said. Well, she called an ambulance. North Glen Ambulance. They contract with Denver because Denver's too stupid and can't get anybody to come work for them to have enough paramedics. So they have to contract with outside cities. So these two little gals end up coming into the cell, and they were fantastic. I'm going to tell you. They knew their job well, and they were very good at what they did. This is where it got super stupid, though. So they continued to take my blood pressure several times, and it was not coming down. That is not good. And I'm fully aware of the ramifications of that kind of blood pressure. I am. I was getting very concerned. I was getting a little scared. And let's just say these ambulance gals did a fantastic job. But ultimately, what ended up happening was they desperately wanted me transported to the hospital, the ambulance workers. I didn't disagree to that. I didn't refuse that at all. However, I do have a right to make healthcare decisions. And when the command staff of the Denver Police Department finally made the decision that the only option for me was to go to Denver Health, even though it had been presented as to why I needed to go to Swedish, which is right down the street from District 3. Right down the street. It's where I've had all my medical care. I don't have to go get emergency services at a publicly ran hospital. I don't have to do that. But here's the alternative. You've got to weigh the risks of death. And I do that every day. Trust me. For a variety of reasons. And I couldn't make it more clear to you that I would rather die on a jail floor than to go to Denver Health. If that's the level of care that they're offering, which is Denver Health, notorious for heinous, horrible shit in that hospital. It is a fully publicly ran hospital. How many times have I said, government destroys everything it touches, including people, okay? My chances of going into Denver Health to be shackled to a bed, to be sedated, to be wrongly treated are greater than me waiting it out. I told DPD, I stroke out in the back of your car, you take me to jail, I guess that's the end of the rope. But I'm going to let you know, my family's going to be a little pissed. Because when I have a conviction, I'm going to follow through with it. Eat it up, trolls. Eat it up. Keep building this channel. Keep at it. You're doing a fucking fantastic job. So, what ended up happening was that they made me sign a release saying that I was refusing treatment. That was not the case. I wasn't refusing treatment at all. And I made them allow me to make a note on the paperwork. Here it is. Where I said, I am not refusing medical treatment. I am only refusing medical care at Denver Health because Swedish is closer and has all of my medical records. I am not safe at Denver Health. They were nice enough to give me a copy of that and inform me of my rights to my medical records. And they went on their way. But the money was still sitting on the metal sink through all of this. The money was still sitting on the metal sink. And in the middle of this interaction with these ambulance gals, enters this new cop. I hadn't seen him in the mix yet. He's fairly tall, kind of hanging his head, but he's there to hold the door open, and he took the place of the woman that was holding the door open. I said, "What are you doing over here? I don't want you here. Go get a woman. I don't have to." I mean, we were doing medical stuff. Okay? We were doing medical stuff. And so he was kind of trying to avoid looking and this and that. And so, you know, he stepped off to the side. So I kind of watched him. I asked him for his name and his badge number. He wouldn't give it to me. So he was kind of pissing me off to begin with. Okay? And the ambulance gals got orders from their supervisors that it was time to leave. They'd been there for quite a while. They did a really good job. But they had to go. So they left. And by now, DPD's really not knowing what they're going to do. Right? Because is she going to stroke out in a car? What's going to go on here? Oh, well, who cares? She might die. But that's okay. We got to take her to jail. So this cop had closed the door after the ambulance crew left, but I needed more water. And he was very kind and got me more drinking water, which, by the way, in this holding cell, all there was scalding hot water coming out of the faucet, you know, for officer safety. They kept claiming this 2 weeks ago. We can't give you access to toilet and water for officer safety. But this time I had access to toilet and scalding hot water. Interesting, huh? Officer safety. So they kept getting me water. And this guy, this new cop, opened the door and he said, "What's with the money?" Okay, I got 5 minutes. He said, what's with the money on the sink? And he had an accent, Russian accent. Well, what is with the money on the sink? I said, "Fuck if I know. You tell me. ONEILL wants it here. Do you know why?" Well, I put that in your property." "Okay, well, you could do it, but the bag's sealed." "Oh, so do you want to keep it?" "Well, yeah, it's my fucking money. Of course I want to keep it." "Oh, okay. And he shuts the door and leaves the money there. So then he comes back another time. Or maybe it was the same time, right before he shut the door. I said, "Well, what do you want me to do then? I got nowhere to put it. How about I stuff it in my bra?" Because now I'm starting to think along the lines of, shit's going to go down at the jail. I have a feeling, but let's see if this guy's going to transport me. I don't know. So he knows that I've stuffed that money down my bra. So, because literally, I had nowhere to put it. Nowhere. I didn't have any stuff. I had no pockets, nothing. So that cop shuts the door for probably, 20 minutes. I get my blood pressure down. I'm doing all right. And I can feel it coming down. Tanya, you're getting it. You're getting it. I already know Pokemon knows the answer, but don't say it. Don't say it. I know, Clinton. I know very well. So, I understand medical rights very well. I do. So, that cop comes back and knocks on the door. And now he's real nice. "Ma'am, Ma'am, it's, are you ready to go? It's time to go. And I'm like, yeah, let's get this shit on the road, because I gotta get out of jail for my doctor's appointment tomorrow. Right? So, yeah, Tanya, be careful. Did he put drugs in it? Thank you. Thank you for that. I watched him the whole time getting that money out of my purse. But I don't know. Because it takes one little swipe. I get what you're saying. But this, you guys, this is another thing I am so excited to share with you. Because it's a huge ray of hope. Not just a glimmer, it's a ray. I'm going to get to it. Noel. So, this guy's telling me, let's go. I said, look, I got to go to the bathroom one more time. Oh, yes, ma'am. I'll wait right here. Very nice. Very nice. So I use the restroom again. And he is the only cop ever that has offered to double handcuff me, because I also have a shoulder injury. And he knew it. And he offered to double handcuff me. Yep, that's great. Thank you very much. And so we're still in the cell, and he's handcuffing me. And by the way, no women. No more women around. They're not available. It's not actual policy that they have women. But yeah, it gets weird. So we go to step outside the cell, and there's ONEILL standing right there to the right with all my property. And he's following us, and I'm right back at it. He came back to agitate and escalate and do whatever else he was planning to do, right? So I made a big deal about putting that money down my bra. And I made sure that I knew he was up to something. And I was letting him have it. I was letting him have it in no uncertain terms. But not the other cop that was walking me to his car. He was doing a good job. And as I kept talking about this money in my bra, this cop walking me to his car kind of jerked me back gently. And he stopped me. And he started to turn me towards him. He said, about the money. Listen, the money goes in the property. Right in front of ONEILL. Right here, standing right next to me, ready to kill me. The money goes in the property, or you keep it in there, and it goes as contraband in the jail. And he's looking at me. Right there. Right fucking there. And I turned around and I looked at ONEILL. And at about this point, you could see some blood draining out of his face. I'm just going to say. That fucker just got schooled by a badge 21 cop. Badge number 21. Just fucking intervened with a almost 25-year veteran of the Denver Police Department. That's what I'm talking about. It was, you have no idea how much weight just got lifted off him. It was the weirdest thing. It was like this metaphysical force taking over, literally just lowering my blood pressure. But I still didn't know this cop's name. So we get in the car. Yeah, it's very disturbing, Kiami. It's very disturbing. And we're in a garage. And it's just the three of us in there, right? And this guy just literally just did that in front of ONEILL. It was great. What did you hear? What wrong, Johnny Bravo? But then we get in the police vehicle, and I've got this thing. Okay, I gotta hurry. I've got this thing with very good men's cologne, and my husband has the best. Let's just say. So all of a sudden, we get in this vehicle, and this cologne is just filling the vehicle. And right as we're getting into the vehicle, I told him, I said, look, I think I'm going to throw up. You got a barf bag? You got something? You know? Right when we got in the car. And he's like, no. I'm like, look, I don't want to, you know, make a huge mess for you. You got something I can throw up on? And about this time, this just overwhelming cologne filled the car. And I like took this deep breath. And this nausea went away. I just felt all this relief, right? The nausea instantly went away. I'm like, that's really good cologne. You're wearing that cologne? Oh, yeah. Yeah, my wife bought that for me. So here now, I'm sure the guy thinks I'm hitting on him, right? I'm like, oh, that's great. Congratulations. That's a great thing. Your wife's got fantastic freaking taste. Tell her to keep it up. And he's like, yeah, my wife of 18 years. I'm like, congratulations. That's fantastic news. Way to go. And what's your patch number again? He tells me. And I'm like, are you a lateral transfer? Because he was good. Lateral means they came over from being a cop somewhere else. He's like, yeah, from Russia. I shit you not. But of course, because it's foreign experience, foreign communist experience, we're going to teach you over here. And maybe they did. Maybe they taught him how to not be a communist. I doubt it. Those guys fled for a reason. Okay, so he did it right. He came here for freedom. However, he told me his full name. I told him to put his card. I told him he needed to put his card in my property. He said he did. Guess what? I never got his card. Somebody took his card out of my property. But his first name was Neek. I thought it was Nick. I repeated Nick. He's like, no, Neek. Neek. Badge number 21 something is going to get one hell of a commendation from me. And I hope he doesn't get fired. I hope he doesn't get harassed to no end by this heinously corrupt command structure that ONEILL is in. I hope. Because this guy did the right thing. Now, would I have been able to get that money out of my bra by the time I got to jail? No. Things probably weren't going to go too well for me at the jail. But things went really good at the jail. We'll have to talk about that more later. And Modern Retro Radio, yeah, thanks for noticing. And Neek had some interesting things to talk about with me on the way to the jail. And he was not feeling good about what was going on by the time he had to stand outside that jail. And I had to go in there. And I turned around and looked at him. And I almost started crying. I really almost did. Just because I'm like, that just really happened. That just really happened. So that's what I'm most excited about. And I'm just most excited about ONEILL just continuing to be this stellar thing that DPD continues to shine with. It's great. It's good stuff. Okay? So, I'm fine. That's pretty much the arrest. I got lots of things to do. Oh, what was the warrant? Thank you. Nick And the other female cop couldn't get the warrant pulled up until seconds before we had to go in the jail. So he was only able to read me a little section of the probable cause statement. Something about breaking the crime scene tape. Remember on 4/20 when O'Neill told me he was going to take me to jail if that crime scene tape fell down? How many times did that crime scene tape fall down in those 60-mile-an-hour winds on 4/20 as Fat Boy Donut Boy Sanchez couldn't figure out how to tie a knot? Inquiring minds want to know. That's what the warrant was for, I think. I trust Neek. Haven't seen it. Haven't seen the probable cause statement. Was only told initially that no other investigators seemed to be involved in it. There were no other names except O'Neill. How does O'Neill get a judge to sign a warrant on a Friday at 3:30? Huh. I wonder. So anyway, dirty cop, interesting arrest. I was in and out of that jail in less than 3 hours. From the time I got to the jail, it was actually 2.5 hours. I was in and out of that jail. That has never happened in Denver. Never. And I will tell you that the jail staff couldn't have been more professional. They weren't going out of their way to do anything special for me. They did a good job. They did a good job. The jail did a good job last night. And, yeah. So, this will continue to unfold. We'll continue to talk about it. But for now, I got to finish up some stuff with Shelly. Remember Shelly over in Inglewood? Now imagine, if you will, Inglewood going out there and harassing her in that park where I asked them to go help her. Now they're telling her she can't exist. I wonder how that happened. So, of course, I wrote Sean Lewis, the city manager, to ask him, what do we do now? No response. Imagine that. All right, you guys, take care. I got to run. We'll touch base again. Everything's fine. Don't sweat it. Thanks for the $2 super chat. If you want to continue to give to the nonprofit, all the ways to donate are in the About section. And we'll check back in with you. Gotta go. Mwah. Bye, guys.